What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Curfew Boys. Damn, aren't we like almost full house?
We're just missing one. We're missing.
Just
We're
missing.
missing.
one.
We're missing a little man somewhere.
A different time zone.
Definitely is little.
Different time zone. He's in a different part of the world.
Yes, we'll get.
He's in the future. Actually, he's in the
Is he?
yeah.
No,
He's in
he's
the
12.
future.
He's 12 hours
Yes,
ahead of
ahead.
us, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to my boys. We got Fireman Sam in the house.
Hey now.
We got Baseman Zook.
Hey now.
Fucking guy. Anyways, we're not going to get into that. We got GQ Chris in the house.
What's up, boys?
And the one I'm most excited about, because I feel like I haven't
I
seen
don't
him in
know.
maybe 15, 20 years from now. That's crazy. Chipman Adri. How many bags of chips have you eaten since the last time I saw you?
One.
One?
It feels like dog years every time we see Adri. Like,
It's true.
Once-
Fast forward every
once-
7 years.
I do my best.
Yes, you do. We all do.
Yeah,
Joey's in Asia. Joey's in, I think, in South Korea. And then
Yeah.
after that, traveling to Japan. So he's having a little not Southeast Asian trip, but having a little
Hopefully,
Asian
he
trip.
finds his true love.
He is looking for love out there. So
Yep. Exactly.
and I hope he
It's the
finds-
male version of what's that movie there with Julia Roberts? Eat, Pray, Love, or whatever.
Yeah.
He's doing it in Asia instead of in Italy.
That's a good one, Zook. Instead of going, he
we'll
could
just
do
call
the Asian version of it.
That's
We'll
it.
we'll just call it Eat, Pray, Joey. It's just
Well, speaking of love, if you love what you hear, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And if you love our beautiful faces and want to see our beautiful faces, you can follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. If you love what you hear, you can listen to us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and any other podcast platform you love to listen to. And please give us an honest rating. You know, whatever you guys say is going to help us grow and give you better content.
share
On
the
that-
love. Share the love for our Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah. Peace, love, Mumba. Is that old school? Yeah.
Eat, but now we're really going way back.
We're way going back. Guys, end of season episode.
Mm,
It's a bit
Bittersweet.
sad.
it's
Bittersweet.
bittersweet.
One thing to say before we get into our beloved Habs, I don't know if you guys are watching the playoffs, but we're getting some fucking good hockey.
I was
Like,
talking to
it's-
Sam earlier.
yeah.
Like, how good is the Colorado game?
Insane.
Series? Oh,
But all the games are good. You know, some series are usually
Florida
more
games are
boring than
good.
others. This one here, I've been watching almost every game, and it's just fun hockey.
You know what? Surprisingly, the Boston Leafs series is the least of the exciting games I find. Even though the matchup's exciting, of course, but like I'm saying, the quality of hockey versus
I agree.
Florida's back and forth saves here and there, even Colorado.
Well,
Insane.
Florida, Tampa has that rivalry, right? So
man.
you're always
like a-
expecting.
It's the next
Yeah,
level.
but you would
an
think that Boston Toronto has that rivalry, and
that's true too. But I
It's
think
more drama in Toronto.
They're very
than-
conservative. The
Yeah.
teams I find there.
I feel like they are a bit more conservative. But the Sergei Bobrovsky save the other
Oh my
night,
God, last night I don't know. I saw
Insanity.
I saw that save live,
Price-esque.
and no, it's Hasek. More
Hasek,
like
yeah,
Hasek.
but
Call me
even
yeah,
Hasek.
it's more like Hasek. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
more.
I
Hasek
was
than
convinced that was a goal. Like that empty net, that puck was going in. That save was like, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was just insane how beautiful that save was.
If Florida wins the series, it's because of that save.
Yeah, I think that
But,
that save gives that momentum because
Mhm.
both goalies are hot. I don't know if you guys are watching this series, but
Yeah.
especially yesterday's game, it was a goalie series, and then that overtime goal was just
Even
the overtimes are always
Zelensky's save on Kachuk. Remember that save? Like that was a sure goal.
Oh,
that was Montembeau nets. That was a sure goal.
the goalie matchups in that series are absolutely it's top end. It's probably
Two Russians, baby.
I two Russians. Well, two of arguably the best goalies in the league. So I think in terms of matchups, goaltending matchups in these playoffs, that one is the best one.
Yeah.
So it comes down to them, but it comes down to everybody. Because like both those teams have an insane amount of talent up front, insane amount of talent on defense. The only edge I find Florida has is that they're slightly I would say maybe slightly younger than Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay, just if you look at the last 3-4 years, how they've been playing and going to the Stanley Cup Finals, they have a lot more wear and tear on them. So
super easy with RBC.
I think that person agrees. I don't know who the fuck that was, but that person agrees.
That was RBC. That was RBC in the background commercial being bombarded.
This episode sponsored by
Here we
RBC.
go. It just keeps going. I'm trying to stuff my phone in a certain position that I can have hockey constantly playing in the background.
Yeah, as long as you have it on mute, that's the key.
I'm trying to wedge it, and the stupid sound, the sound is.
I have it right here. It's on my table. It's right here. I don't have to just. Anyways, all that to say is that there's a lot more wear and tear on Tampa Bay, and I wouldn't be surprised if exhaustion is catching up to them. It caught up to them last year against Toronto, and that's why fucking Leafs won in the first round, because Tampa Bay was exhausted. Hopefully, with the rest they had, but I mean, who knows in these playoffs? But I know I predicted a 7-game series for Florida Tampa, and I'm predicting Florida to win the series in 7.
It's going to be a tight series, let me tell you. But everything else, like Zook, you said it. You want to talk about talent. So Florida, you have the Florida series. It's a lot of talent, but more in the back where the goalies are hot. But what was I going to say? Yeah, Colorado, Winnipeg. The talent on that, it's just a fast game.
Insane.
And I don't want to shit on my Habs, right? Because we're a Habs podcast and we love our Habs, but I don't see the Habs right now. If they were to be in the playoffs against teams like that, the speed of the game, how fast and skilled this.
If only Joey was here to hear that right now.
But he'd be happy. But I'm one to admit,
he performed some love gestures on you right now. I'm just saying.
Hold on. Yes. Okay. Look, I understand what Anthony's saying for sure. We could say that with the empirical evidence that we've seen the Habs play the whole year, fine. But I still have this belief that if the Habs were to make the playoffs, they would have to force themselves to take that next level. I think they will, and they can. I think they can if they get to that level. I'm saying.
My point is, and I know Chris, you have something to say, but my point I'm trying to make is, I'm not saying that our team is not talented. I think we're gonna get there eventually, and I know if we go to the playoffs, they're gonna have that different game mode on.
I think they're gonna take that level, yeah.
But if you watch, for example, just Winnipeg and Colorado, look the speed, the skill, the way they entered the zone and taking shots and back.
McKinnon scored how many points this year?
The Habs don't have that talent to do that.
No, I know.
Getting to a zone is always that dump and chase.
Yeah,
it's slow. It's slow motion.
It's okay. We have Hudson. He's coming. He's not going to do a dump and chase, Hudson.
You guys were talking about talent, and I think this was something that was brought up within our own group chat. In all seriousness, I think they're missing more toughness. If there's one thing that seems to be coming back and storming back very quickly, it's hard hitting, tougher hockey. I'm super, super happy that our back end is going to be built up with a bunch of moose-like players that are very big, very heavy, going to be able to take that abuse. But honest to God, when I see the other teams and I see the way they skate and they finish their checks and they do what they're doing, that's where I start to say, oh my God, I'm worried about my Montreal Canadiens in the playoffs. I do genuinely think that we could take that step up that you guys are talking about, that they could bring their game to another level, be a little bit more concentrated, execute on a little bit of faster, higher paced level. But I still don't think that they're just ready to take that playoff abuse, at least up top on the forward group.
Oh my God! Look at the Edmonton Oilers and the way they played against the Kings. I know those are later games, whereas Winnipeg, they kind of play them not 7:00 start our time, but a little bit later, but not 10:00 start like the ones out west. But Jesus Christ, you watch McDavid play, you watch Draisaitl play, and Zach Hyman, he's just continuing from his 50-goal season, and you know what I mean. Do we have a guy like that in our team too? It's obviously a lot of questions.
If Josh Anderson actually woke up, and number two, if he had McDavid to throw the puck off of him and into the net. That there we go. We have Zach back.
B is in May. You think Tony Esposito is fucking saying, "Oh, playing with Bobby Orr, I just had to stand in front and just place my feet and stick at the right spot." He's still a Hall of Famer and a Stanley Cup champion because of that.
For sure.
I'm just saying. You're at the right place at the right. You know what? You could be the player that does everything like McDavid and Draisaitl, but if you don't have a guy that knows where to go and where to be at the right time in order to support you, you're just as useless, in my opinion. Well, but we're gonna get to Josh Anderson later. That there's something we got to talk about. But anyways,
but you're right. I mean, we all shit. Well, Joey mostly, but shits on Gallagher of these shit goals and cheap goals. But look, he has the talent to be at the right place at the right time. He knows the positions to be at to score those stupid goals, and a goal is a goal at the end of the day, right?
Those trash. Got to pick up the trash.
Got to pick up the trash,
and he knows when to take penalties too.
Not anymore.
Not
anymore. After his suspension, not anymore. Maybe the first half of the season. Okay, look, guys.
Get into it. Yeah.
Okay, let's seriously talk about the Canadiens here. It's like Anthony introduced. It's the end of the year review. So I took the time to obviously grab some of their stats from this year, and I want to compare them to last season. Okay, so obviously we both know last year they got the top 5 pick. This year they have a very good chance of picking the same spot, finishing at the whatchamacallit, the 28. Oh my God, I can't do math.
Bottom 5.
They're bottom 5, exactly, which puts them at 28. Exactly. They were 28 last year, 28 this year. Now the difference is this year they finished with a record of 30 wins, 36 losses, and 16 overtime shootout losses. Okay, for a total of 76 points. Last year they finished at 31 wins, but 45 losses in regulation and 6 overtime or shootout losses. So it's literally a difference of 8 points. This year, they had 8 more points this year, but last season, they had 1 more win in regulation. Okay, big deal. However, to me, the fact that they're tied for the most overtime or shootout losses in the entire league. I think the other team after that is the New York Islanders. They had 16 overtime losses or shootout losses. But to me, I consider that in terms of where this rebuild is going, I consider that a progression, okay? This year, they were at minus 55. So they scored 236 goals, but they gave up 289 goals for a total of minus 53. Last season, they only scored 232 goals. So only this year they scored 4 more goals, but they let in 307 goals last year for a total of minus 75. So you're really looking at a difference of my God, my math is terrible tonight. Anyways, minus 53 this year, minus 75 last year. But once again, you know that there's a bit of a goal scoring problem. And even last year, don't forget, Caufield was out. Uri Slafkovsky was out for the whole season. We had injuries of Mike Matheson throughout the season. Last year, we had a shit ton of injuries, which is another thing I want to point out too. But first, this is, to me, the important thing in terms of where they've progressed. This year, they were 27th on the power play with 17.5%. Last year, they were 29th at 16.1%. Okay? Only 44 goals on the power play this year. Last year, 38. All right? So still a bit of progression. This year, on the penalty kill, 76.5%. They gave up 65 goals on the power play, whereas last year at 72.7% for 29th spot, and they gave up 75 power play goals. So literally a 10 power play goal difference in terms of giving up. So I consider this progress as far as where the rebuild is, okay? Take away the fact that there were a shit ton of injuries last year. This year, what I consider the most is a big difference in the injury front. And I understand Kirby Dach was out all year. I understand Alex Newhook was out for around 8 weeks, but he still came back and still played well after that. And I get that Xhekaj and Guhle, they ended the year with injuries. But on the overall, I consider this season a success, not just in terms of stats, improvement on that front. For me, key players play the entire season. Nick Suzuki, who's obviously Iron Man. Cole Caufield played the entire season. Juraj Slafkovsky played the entire season. That, to me, those guys that are part of your core,
And they all hit milestones this year, all of them. So
I there's one thing I have to say: the injury front wasn't perfect. Definitely an improvement, and it kind of showed. Your best players became your best players.
Can I ask you all a question though? Speaking of, you said all those stats, right? But numbers are numbers, right? Mm-hmm. And yes, numbers are numbers, and you can validate them more than just what you see. But I want to ask you guys this question: compared to last year and watching the way we saw this year, do they look? Pretend you didn't know the stats. None of you know the stats. Just watching them, how they played and how close every game was. Do they look like a bottom 5 team?
No. They competed with some of the best teams in the league, and they were in, like we said, they were in it pretty much every single game all the way till the end. They had a lot of comebacks. They also gave up a lot of leads, but nevertheless, they competed with the best of them. They truly did not seem like a bottom 5 team.
Because I would, let's say add in Doc, who wasn't injured, and all those.
Who knows, huh?
Who knows? That's for sure. But I mean, I think everything happens for a reason. I want to get into that whole Doc thing, but because we spoke about it last episode. But aside of that, all those close games, if we would have, I know it's if and he and whatever, but to me, this team, what I saw this season, they're a wild card team, not a bottom 5 team. Stats aside, because looking at the stats, yes, we're a bottom 5 team, even maybe worse. Okay, if you look at the stats compared to last year, but what I'm saying is that last year with those stats, and they're fairly close to what we saw this year, but last year we said it. It was a long ass season. We couldn't wait for it to be over. They were shit. We were just done watching them. This year we were on our feet till the end. Now, yes, maybe because of the milestones and the progression and this and that, but again, to me, how I see it, this team did not look like a bottom 5 team this year.
I agree.
You also like, there's one other element that was not brought up, and I guess it might be a good transition to individual player breakdown. I thought on the overall, the team started playing a lot better in the second half of the season, but also you had a guy like Slafkovsky, who we are all questioning whether or not he was going to be around. He was pretty much a point per game player. Had Slafkovsky been playing like that the whole way through the season, this in itself, it might have made up that much more for Kirby Doc's absence. Might have made for a lot better of a season, might have been a goal or two. Look, like we said, we're saying it for the 3rd time now. How many 1-goal games did we lose? You have a Slav goal that goes in here or there. Completely different. You might have an additional 10, 20 points in the standings. It's crazy.
So to me, Juraj Slafkovsky, the date that he started showing up, December 9th. And I want to see if you guys know which game I'm talking about.
New Jersey.
No.
If you're going to go to the Buffalo game.
Absolutely.
I thought he had a few games before that, but that was the game where he really, he got into that fight. He potted that amazing shootout goal. And that was the game. That
was the game where he raised the eyebrows of everyone within this fan base and within this city. That were, when we saw what he did in the shootout, everyone was like,
well, his celebration just right there and then, the confidence, you saw the confidence just enter his body. You know, for him to celebrate that, you can see if I don't know, confidence just went into him, and then after that, just everything changed.
So,
Zoo.
Go.
Zoo?
Yeah, I want to say so. And this is a little more to what Anthony was saying, or adding to what Anthony was saying. If the Habs won, let's say, half of those 1-goal games that they lost, okay?
Joey is cringing right now by hearing this. By saying these
he really
1-goal
is.
games. He's
he
cringing.
Really is.
Yeah, cool.
if we won half, because it was games that it was a matter of inches, and half, in all those games we lost by one little screw up play. But if we won half of those games, we would have been tied with or close to the Red Wings in terms of points,
Wildcard team.
which is a wildcard team.
But
that's with not having a second line, dude.
That's with not having a second line. That's with not scoring enough power play goals too.
There you go. There's things like that. So there's a few little adjustments that if they do this summer, if they make them up and they start the year strong, dude, I think, like you guys are saying, we might be able to fight for a playoff spot next year. Of course, also depending on the health of other teams. Because look, the Habs were unhealthy, I'd say, the last couple of years, but teams will experience the same thing. And we don't know which teams will have it, but every team goes through these cycles, right? Where, like, Red Wings could be injured next year, or Ottawa could, be shit again, or which leaves us space for us to, if we win, we could be up there. So you never know. I think in terms of trending wise, that's definitely where it's going.
Speaking of goals, fucking Toronto just scored. It's 1-0, 1-0 Toronto.
Who scored it?
I think Matthew Nye scored, but. Look, we could definitely transition into, which players surprise us the most, which ones disappoint us the most.
Yeah.
I think in terms of who surprised us the most, I think it's safe to say Juraj Slafkovský. Some might say, yes, it's a surprise. Some might say, no, I'm not surprised because this is exactly who he's supposed to be and where he's supposed to be in terms of his development. Now, I know that we all know how the season started with him. Not so great. Marty had to convince management to keep him, and we'll get to Marty later. But then I personally think after that shootout winner, that's where the confidence grew. Like Anthony said, he was here, put on the first line. After that, it just went uphill for him. So to me, I think he was the most... I'm gonna go with like the player that we should be not happiest the most, but like for me, it's like Slafkovský is my number one. He's the top of my list, just ahead of Nick Suzuki. And again, Nick Suzuki, milestone season, finished over 70 points, over 30 goals, starting to prove that he is a number one centerman. Kent Hughes said it himself. He's really reminding me of Patrice Bergeron this season, and we'll get to the Kent Hughes presser after. But I still think Slafkovský, like Nick Suzuki, it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not surprised he did this. Whereas Juraj Slafkovský, I feel like maybe because of the start of the season and because he's the first overall pick, like we really wanted him to get a season like that, but we weren't too sure. Just the way he fucking ended the season was pure beauty. Gets a hat trick too in his first full NHL season. Like 20 goals with a nice, beautiful fucking bonus paycheck against the final game against Detroit. And I know you two Stronzos were there. It's true. Like you witnessed. I'm sure
I witnessed a few milestones this season. Suzuki's 80th.
Pardon me?
Suzuki's 30th.
30th. Sorry.
Yeah. He's getting so. Anyways,
80 goals.
For me, the player I'm happiest for the most is Juraj Slafkovský, and I really want to hear you guys like who surprised you the most, who you're happiest the most for in terms of this season, where they're at.
I won't get into my excitement, like who's my player, but I just want to say one thing to Chris's comment about the second line. I think everything happens for a reason. I think we mentioned this last episode. Doc's injury this year kind of made us find that first line, because if Doc was here, he was having a good exhibition with Slafkovský and Anderson, right? So we could have seen that. We would have never, I don't think, or maybe we don't know, but I don't think we would have ever seen the Slafkovský, Caufield, and Suzuki line if Doc was here. So maybe. I think everything happens for a reason, which now we found that number one line. And now next year with Doc healthy, we can find that second line eventually. But yeah, go to your
unless they switch the line.
You can't.
I don't think you could switch that line.
You can't.
Even
with the second line?
No, I think Adri's insinuating that you put Slafkovský with Doc next season.
No, you can't.
You know what though? I think they're going to try that in preseason. I think age is not
Sure.
entirely wrong. They're
I
gonna
mean,
probably
you can
try
test
that to
it for
see.
sure, but I wouldn't want to break that. You saw what they saw. The second half of the season, that line just fucking dominated. 50 points Lukowski, 80 points Suzuki.
So the
Yes,
Suzuki
but,
line,
they
there's
also
only
had
10
no choice
lines
to put that
in
line
NHL
together.
more points than that line.
Go ahead, Adri.
So they also had, in a way, no choice to put that line together
That's right.
to make
Yeah.
sure, because of the injury. But
In
if
the
he
very-
wasn't there,
Yeah. Well, remember in the very first game, it was Doc with Slavkovsky and Newhook.
Right, but Adri, it produced, and there's only 10
I'm
lines
not-
above the Canadians that
I'm
have more
not-
points. So that's pretty elite.
yes, I'm not saying it was. I'm
So it
just
worked.
saying that.
I get the one was choice. You're right. But even before, remember when Slav wasn't even drafted by the Canadians yet?
Yeah,
and
he
there was
wanted to
talks that
play.
they would have drafted him. He's like, I wouldn't mind playing with Nick and Cole.
Cole, yeah.
So he manifested that. freaking
Manifested
line, dude.
big time.
Came
Yeah.
through life. Came
Yeah.
to life.
But that's it. Then he got the opportunity, so he made it work. So
Yeah, it's also
Yeah.
Marty too. He gave him the confidence to, or what's the word? He built
had-
his game so that he got to that level to be on the first level.
He had full trust, and you know what? What's even better is that management had full trust in Marty to work with the kid and to stay and for him to stay. Do you guys agree with me though in terms of Slavkovsky? Like, or do you have any other players that you're happy for? Or
Okay, yes. So I'm happy with, and this is, I don't know if we've spoken about this, but I'm happy that we had a player like Struble crack the line and cement himself within the team.
That's a good one.
He literally came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting him to stay.
I wasn't.
The amount of games that he was staying. Most of the city doesn't even. They thought he would have been like a bottom feeder D guy, but he ended up being
I thought he
probably
would have been
more consistent than Harris.
I thought he would have been a number on a good team, maybe a number 6 or a number 7.
At best, but no, dude, he's been the most consistent player. His skating is fantastic. His smarts are fantastic. He doesn't get stupid penalties.
But he's got to keep a simple game. Like towards the end, he struggled a little bit. I found, but like it's okay. He's still
that's because of his endurance is not up to par yet. But he's young, so like next year he should have that under control. If that's the case, dude, he's someone I see like if we make the playoffs, man, he could be a tough D man to play against.
Well, he's gonna have to. His next level is just provide that toughness in the back end,
and I think he has it. I see it in his body frame, like. He has that potential, so maybe
he's built like a Greek god, like Mark Bergevin said.
It looks fantastic.
He's built like a Greek god. So, okay, so Zook says Struble. Okay, I like that. I really do. Okay, anybody else?
I definitely have a name that's going to go a little bit off the board, but Joshua Roy. Honestly, I think he took a step up above a handful of prospects that I thought might have been on a little bit higher up in comparison to him on our top prospect list. I definitely think this is a guy that might end up being a solid piece on our second line, believe it or not, as of next season. I think Alex Newhook, if he's got the responsibilities of being a third line center, I definitely think Joshua Roy had flashes. Like he didn't bury the puck as much as maybe we wanted him to, but I definitely think Joshua Roy, we can pick at least 15 to 20 clips of him truly doing special things. His vision for like on the ice is fantastic. His patience with the puck is fantastic. And I don't know about you guys, but I see an absolutely lethal and wicked wrist shot. So, I mean, obviously, we're going to go with Slavkovsky. We're going to go with Suzuki, who's dominating. But if I were to say there was one guy who I wanted to see when he had that opportunity, whether or not he would make the NHL jump, I definitely think Joshua Roy jumped even above, let's say, Raphael Harvey-Pinard, as an example.
But wait, I agree with that. I don't think we saw enough of Joshua Roy games. For me, but this is just for me personally. Like I wanted to. I'm happy for sure. The kid made it. Listen, when he got called up from Laval, he looked a lot better with the Canadiens than when he did with Laval, and he was the best rookie in the AHL at one point until he got called up. And it's so funny how things work out when like you get called to the show, you look like you belong. Then with certain roster management, he had to get sent back down. He went back down. And it was like, it looked like he had no interest being there. Gets called back up. Looks like belongs in the NHL. Then he got the injury, and he couldn't help Laval out at the end of the season, and we'll get to them later too. Those sons of bitches. Anyways, but Chris, I think I don't know if he's a second line center on this team.
No, he's not a center. He's a
excuse
winger.
me. I don't think he's a second line winger on this team.
I think, again, if you have Newhook on the wing, then I think it's going to be our draft pick, our top 5 draft pick. Fingers crossed that number 1 or number 2. But I definitely think that if Alex Newhook is going to be moving down the lineup, I think he has the talent to play there. Because of what you were just saying, like I strayed away from one guy because one guy also too talking about making that jump. The last 2 games of Lane Hudson were I've never been so excited as a fan, and I've never been so hopeful as a fan. But I don't think
honestly,
that's a fair answer because he hasn't been around enough.
Exactly. We can't mention it because it's only 2 games, but wow.
Fuck it. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
No, but
because if that's the case, then honestly, he surpasses Slavkovsky. I know you're going to say, "What the hell? That's a 2-game sample." But seeing him in person, seeing him on TV, seeing the highlights, like I was not so scared. But you hear everybody saying, "Oh, he's too small. He's going to get bullied." This guy is so agile. He's so amazing. He is going to change the whole back end of the Montreal Canadiens when he'll be here full time.
My guy, guys, like I can't believe no one brought this guy's name up. Like,
I know you're
the whole fucking season, a total of 54 games played, 5 goals, 8 assists, total of 13 points. Tanner Pearson, like, come on, how do you not mention this beauty of a player, Tanner Pearson, a guy who should have been on the fucking first line from day one? All jokes aside, Joey, I made you cringe there. I know that's the point.
His best game was in the red versus white scrimmage on the top line.
That's my point.
Best game.
No, all jokes aside, look, I don't want to say this name because it's cliche, the 80-point player guy, but the reason why I'm focusing on Suzuki is, if you guys remember the last 2 seasons of the Curfew Boys, I kept saying,
I know
this is the year he's going to break out. This is the year he's going to break out. And he was slowly breaking out, but he was not, this is the year he just fucking broke that glass and just came out strong and hit that 80 points. And if it continues this momentum, you're seeing a 100-point player next year. I'm sorry, I'm going to say that out loud.
Oh, damn.
And the reason why, and hold on, and I'm not talking out of my ass, Joey. The reason why I'm saying that, I just love saying Joey's name.
I like how he's addressing a guy who's not here. He's addressed Joey like 6 times and Joey's not here.
I love it. I love it. I want to feel his presence.
Let's just get the record straight. He finished with 77 points and 33 goals in 82 games. It's It's 3 straight seasons that he plays 82 games.
Yeah. So the reason why, okay, maybe I exaggerated 100-point game year next year, but why I'm saying
what
that?
Else is new?
Why I'm saying that, Adrian? Okay, think about it.
What scenario is this one now?
It's not a scenario. It's not a scenario. Sikorsky woke up in the second half of the season, right? So add Sikorsky playing a full season the way he played, you're gonna double his points, which is on the same line as Suzuki. You're adding more points on Suzuki's hands.
And if Caufield scores more goals?
If Caufield Caufield did not have a good season compared to, well, he played a good season, but I'm saying compared to what he played the year before the injury, he should be playing. He was exactly. So if Caufield plays who he's supposed to, projected, scoring those 30 goals or more, and he's an 80-point player on the same line as Suzuki, and
it's all passes from
Sikorsky, exactly, and Sikorsky hitting that mark, your 2 best.
It's an extra 20 points, right? So like he's nearing 100 points.
But that's why I'm saying that. And with Lane Hudson, who's a fucking playmaker, all right, because just 2 games he played. I know it's just a small portion to project, but just those 2 games, the amount of chances the team had, scoring chances when he was on the ice, it was all him. It was all him. Put him with Sikorsky and Suzuki and Caufield in the first line.
Yes.
But that's why I'm saying if Suzuki is hitting close to 80 points without Caufield playing his best season, with Sikorsky only playing a second good half season, give him a full good season, give Caufield his projected fucking points that he's supposed to get, you're getting 100, close to 100-point play from Suzuki.
Ants, you're onto something. Ants, you're onto something because speaking on the medical side of things, Caufield, who underwent shoulder surgery, just to inform some of the listeners, I've actually had this conversation with a few medical professionals. They're saying they're expecting him. A few big hockey fans, they're expecting him to be better next year. Usually, it takes about a full calendar year to fully recuperate from a shoulder injury. So his shot, I think Sammy and I, we've had this discussion with our Uncle Joe, who loves to go over this, but the shot accuracy and shot power from Caufield, in our opinion, was a little bit lower than usual. Give him some time, let him recoup over the summer, let him come back. I guarantee you that shot is going to look that much better next season. I am betting you that we're seeing a difference of at least 6 plus 7 goals. I hope he hits the 40. I do have full faith and confidence, but what you're saying, Anthony, that Caufield will do more when he's coming back next season, truly a calendar year later after surgery, he will be that much better. Bet on it.
That's if Suzuki stays healthy, right? When we just jinxed it.
Yeah.
You just jinxed it.
No, Caufield.
No. What I'm trying to say is that here I am projecting Suzuki to hit close to 100 points with everybody getting to their projection, but yet he plays 5 games and breaks his head or something. I don't know. But anyways,
AJ, who's your Jesus Christ, AJ, who's your guy?
Definitely not Ant.
Okay, that's okay. He's neither of ours either.
Honestly, surprised. Okay, it's not a surprise, but it was expected. But I know some people didn't expect it. But Matheson.
There we go. I was waiting
Because
fucking right.
When we got him, I knew he was good and he was gonna produce. He was gonna move better than Petrie and all that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, I would say it took some time, but like he proved it with Pittsburgh, and he proved it this season with his 60 points.
He got
not far from 60. Yeah.
no, I think he hit 60.
62.
No, he hit 60.
Yeah, he did.
He hit over
That was
60.
the miles.
62.
Yeah, so
To me, any defenseman that's over the 50-point mark is an elite defenseman. So
He was
No,
top
it's
10 in the top 10 in the league, and
Well,
top
there you
5
go.
and top
So,
5 in minutes,
there you
62
go.
points. Listen, not even PK
fantastic.
Subban's best season was 60 points. Okay.
yeah,
And I checked, and I went and checked stats, and I compared. PK Subban had a bit more power play goals than Mike Matheson. Who was PK Subban's quarterback?
Markov.
Andrei Markov.
Thank you very much. Mike Matheson was
what was the
given the role of quarterback on the power play. Okay, so I understand that. Yes, PK Subban has a bit more. Mike Matheson played the exact same way PK Subban did in his best years. The only difference is PK Subban's a little bit more. He's got a little
flashy,
bit more like it's more flashy. Exactly. PK Subban took a lot more risks.
Sammy, do it again. What was Subban doing? What's
It's true. If you look at him skate like that's what he does.
that's so such a fidget.
We got to do a reel on that.
I know.
PK Subban was an electric skater. Matheson was more smooth with his strides, but I'm just saying, like the level of hate by some members in the fan base, not in the Curfew Boys,
or in this group,
Chris.
PK.
No, listen,
Matheson was just off. Defensively, he would make such stupid decisions. Offensively,
and what did PK Subban
He was
do?
moving art.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, but you know what? PK Subban would make up for it in other ways. Like I found he would throw other players off their games more. He would hit much harder, so players were a lot more aware of PK in the defensive zone. PK would screw up by doing too much offensively. Mike Matheson, I just found he would fumble in his own end. PK didn't
Yeah.
fumble the puck. He just made stupid or excessive decisions.
PK would fumble a lot of times too, and it's that's
saying-
what happens
no,
when
I'm
you're
saying-
when you're an offensive defenseman and your style is a little more offense to your game. You will fumble the puck a little bit more times than usual, especially when you're playing over 25 minutes on average.
Yeah.
Deal with that. But I'm just saying on the blue line, PK Subban had better puck control. He would catch the puck. Like, I don't know how many times Mike Matheson on the power play let the, like, not purposely, but the puck would go by him. It would jump over his stick. PK Subban had better control of that. In his own end, too, he was just more solid in terms of puck control. He would, again, make stupid mistakes, but it wasn't the same, like, hesitation. It was an overconfidence. Whereas Mike Matheson, like I said, he still hasn't settled into his own, I think, in the defensive zone. And that's it.
what it is.
That's
He's
all.
gauging that threshold, right?
Also, PK
That's what I
Subban never had an Andre Markov to bail him out, and more importantly, never had a Carey Price to bail him out either.
That's true.
And this was PK Subban getting 60 points on a Carey Price Vezina winning season. You're talking about Mike Matheson getting over 60 points
with multiple.
Montembeau.
with
And
Montembeau,
Primo.
with younger players who still haven't established an NHL career yet.
Fantastic.
And I get, look, they're one of the bottom 10 on the power play, one of the bottom 10s on the PK, and they're bottom 5 in the league. You get what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know. For me, and I say, and I make this comparison with the most love for PK Subban because he was, after Carey Price, he was my favorite player. Like, more than Plekanec, more than Pacioretty, more than Desharnais. You know what I mean? So I say this with the most love for
more than
PK.
Markov.
Yeah, I liked PK Subban more than I loved Andre Markov. Don't get me wrong, but we all love PK Subban because of the excitement he brought. Like, he made fans stand out of their seats when he would rush the puck from his zone upwards, up to the offensive zone. So I say this with most love. It's just I think they're very, very similar, both styles, and just 2 points is 2 points only. I get it. But can you imagine had the power play have been better with Matheson on it? Can you imagine if Caufield was scoring more on the power play?
Can I say something?
To Anthony, what if, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll say this, Chris. I'll give you this. He does need to pass to Slafkovsky a little bit more. I would like to see that.
He's got to pass to. He's got to not only pass to Slafkovsky. He's got to either get the hell out of the way and let a guy like Lane Hudson come in, or he's got to be able to master the backhand pass towards the opposite face-off
I don't
circle
think he
where
has
Caufield is. He doesn't have it. He does not have. Thank you, Zook. He does not have that pass, and that's why Cole Caufield was also lower in goals, because that pass is not going to him. The only time that Cole Caufield scored on the power play was when Nick Suzuki was sending a beautiful pass across the ice, or Slafkovsky was sending a pass across the ice. But it was not Mike Matheson that was dishing from the middle to opposite half of the blue line across the ice to exactly where Cole Caufield gets set up on the power play.
Hudson has that pass, by the way.
I think Hudson has.
He
has that pass. I've seen it even in the NCAA.
Hudson has the ability to switch positions on a dime and feed the puck either to the left side or to the right as a left-handed shooter. Yes, Zook, you want to say something?
Yeah. Sorry, no. I wanted to add one point to the disappointment of this year of the Habs is.
Are we getting into that?
Wait. Oh, I thought.
To the disappointment.
Well, wait. I thought we were already there. Sorry.
No, Mike Matheson is not a disappointment, guys.
Well, Chris was harping on.
No, Mike Matheson is far from a disappointment.
Chris enjoys that.
No, he's not a disappointment. I don't like him defensively. Please, people, fais la part des choses, tabarnak.
Okay, hold on a sec. But speaking, did you hear what some of the guys on the LDS said on Latsisham in terms of Mike Matheson? That his value is at the highest right now. Should he? I don't think he should be a trade target, but should we trade him for that star forward or that hopeful star forward that we want.
Hopeful
not right now.
I-
And the
I-
reason why I
think
say
it
that,
depends on the draft.
But Ant,
Okay.
he's 31.
Okay,
Eh?
Adri. Okay, Adri. That's a smart answer. Depends on the draft. Okay.
Because in a way, it's who are they actually going to go pick? Like, I don't know.
Well,
They're
it would have to
saying-
be a player like a
don't know.
Kirby Doc, in my opinion. It can't
That's
be.
it. You have to go for a forward.
For
You
sure.
want to go grab
Guys,
another defenseman.
guys.
If they grab a defenseman, that means somebody's going.
Yeah.
well, someone's gonna go.
Adri.
We have too many defensemen in the thing. But if we can get rid of Matheson for a top end forward,
But top,
Because,
you
yeah.
mean a current top 6? Like
a
current
top
No,
six.
you
I
know,
would say
Adri.
that's tough, man. That's tough.
But
no,
Adri,
you know. Yeah, go,
Adri,
Chris.
would like I just want to ask Adri this, but for example, the first name that comes to mind is if you can have a Trevor Zegras and Mike Matheson is one of the key pieces in there. I don't see Anaheim needing more. Well, they do need more defensemen actually, but that's the first name that pops to mind. Is that who you're thinking of, or a similar player like a
Yeah.
Zegras?
I honestly wasn't thinking of any player, but maybe yes, Ziegler, fine, only if my Hudson and Mayu are ready to come up.
So
If they're not ready to come up, then don't do it.
well, look,
If they're ready to put them in the lineup and they're gonna play because they're gonna have to replace that Matheson.
I would put him up.
well, but Zook said this a few days ago in our chat. We all know that we have a lot of defenseman depth that we're gonna have to get rid of players. We can't keep everybody, right? And then Zuki had mentioned, I hope we get rid of the right person, right? Because we don't want to make that mistake and get rid of someone who's going to be a hot hand in the future and then we get nothing back good in return.
Mhm.
So if that being said, if we can get rid of a 31-year-old who has a lot of value like Matheson, who's almost getting close to the end of his career,
That's it,
and
yeah.
you're getting high value for him now for a Zegras or a top elite, which saves us from getting rid of a top future defenseman. Then things change a little.
Mike,
bit.
Love that, yeah.
I want to get to like the players that disappoint us, but I want to finish on that point, and we'll get to the Jeff Gordon and Kent Hughes presser. But for Mike Matheson to get traded, he's going to get traded to a team that he's just one missing piece on defense that can help this team contend and go to the Stanley Cup Finals within the next season or two, and that they'll be willing to give up a young player because it's worth that's a sacrifice worth of
Detroit
winning the Stanley
have
Cup.
old defensemen like Petrie and Shabbat.
Sure. Shabbat.
Yeah, but they got
Sherrod.
Sherrod.
Salam.
Yeah, but they got Spider. They have
The best example that I heard Craig Button talk about is when he was within the management of the Dallas Stars in the late 90s, before they won the Cup in 99, is I want to say they traded for Joe Nieuwendyk. However, they managed that. They traded Jerome McGinley for Joe Nieuwendyk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They had a Ginla? Ooh, yeah. Okay, cool.
They got rid of Joe Nieuwendyk was with Calgary.
Man.
And they got rid of they knew that Iginla was going to be an excellent player. I don't think they knew he'd be a Hall of Fame player.
You know
They
that
knew
I
he'd be
remember
excellent.
that day, dude.
But
Like,
it
I was
but it
watching
worked.
TQS and they were talking about it.
But it worked. The Dallas Stars, they got Joe Nieuwendyk, and a few seasons later they won the cup.
Yeah, they won. Yeah,
Like,
saw
But
that
I see a
playoff.
Matheson going to Detroit. They have veteran defense.
No,
No, because
but the
Detroit
whole-
has a good team. They're a wild card team.
They're
They just need that
fantastic team,
spark,
yeah.
and they have. I mean, I love Petrie and Sherrod, but they're veterans now. They're not.
Honestly, Sherrod is on his. I think it's more to replace him. He's useless, dude. Like I don't know.
no, it's
I don't
They-
find he had in Detroit. I'm saying because the last few games we were watching Detroit, I didn't find he had that impact he had with the Canadiens.
No.
Like he was just a ball buster at some point.
Well, that's his role. He was a good,
No, I
he's a
know,
good number 4. But
But his D skills were a lot better in Montreal. I find.
anyways, which I think we're all going to name the same player, but which player had a bit of like, or not a bit, had a really disappointing season
Anderson.
this year?
The rest of the team.
Yeah,
I say Anderson.
yeah.
That's that. Yeah, it's. I feel for the fucking guy.
Also, you're agreeing to that, or
Josh Anderson.
Yeah, because I just Anderson.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much his season. What the fuck can you say?
Yeah, very disappointing.
What can we say? And I
And,
love
and what
guy.
pisses me off is that he started off bad, and he just needed to score that goal to break the ice,
Mhm.
thinking that goal was gonna be like we all said it. Remember,
Yeah.
it took 15 games before he scores. We said the moment he scores, he's getting at he's gonna break loose and,
He's
and
gonna
kill
take
it.
off, yeah.
And
He did it for a
Well,
couple
even-
of games,
even-
and then-
even-
even Marty said it. The Josh has arrived. Yeah, for like a day.
for a day.
Like, ugh.
Wow,
for
it was just
sure.
like it was just like Primo said. It's just the beginning, and then
Never happened.
exactly.
No, is nobody
Yeah.
happy for Primo?
That's why I grabbed my hat. I said, "How did we not mention Primo?" He
Yeah,
took
because
a
we're talking about
huge step
players.
forward.
I put goalies aside.
okay.
like,
Huge
Yeah,
step. Yeah,
Goalies are
it
players,
was-
right?
yeah,
Yeah, no.
I honestly
Well,
preferred
our
Primo to
thumbs
Montembeau this year.
fingers.
Yeah, of course.
fucking guy.
You
Okay, if we want to talk about goalies and excitement, I mean, Primo was and so let's go back to that conversation a few months back when we had the 3 goalies and which one do we get rid of? And I said,
No,
Primo, you got
you
to
said it. You
Yeah.
said it. Keep Primo.
Primo.
Yeah.
because- and I know, Sammy,
100%.
you've been fucking saying it for years, and then you started giving up on him like we all did, and I think we all said at the beginning of this season, this guy, because how he played last year with the Rockets,
Mhm.
this season started, and we all said he still has it in him. He's just with the wrong team, wrong management,
Mhm.
right? And it was time to go, and I had a feeling that him going to another team, we'd all get the Primo that we all expected from.
Mhm.
And by chance, St. Louis and this
what were
management
we
was the
expecting?
right answers, and he showed us what he showed us right on time, because I think it would have been a big mistake losing him.
I agree.
I think he
And-
woke up at the right time.
And it's not only that, and boys, I think the moral of the story is we all should see a psychologist or a psychiatrist. In his case, it was a
But-
sports
But do you think?
psychologist. or
Except for
Bobby.
Josh Anderson.
But
worked
do you
out,
think?
man.
But do you think Josh Anderson? Well, do you think? I mean, we can't tell him what to do, but maybe he should.
Well,
It's working.
well, wait,
No,
Work-
but he refused.
But
yeah,
wait.
but I don't know.
Apparently,
I
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know where I heard. I know Chris mentioned that, but I don't know where you heard that. I don't know. Like it's interesting.
He said
Well-
it. There was something he said, I don't need to go see
Okay.
someone.
Goaltending is definitely a lot of this, eh? Like a lot of the
All players are this. Like
But-
I know it's off topic, but I've been watching Full Swing on Netflix. It's a
Yeah.
golf documentary,
Yeah,
and
cool.
a lot
I
of
hear good things
players
about
are
that.
starting to see sports psychologists,
There
and
you go.
some are refusing.
Golf is very cerebral, though. Well, yeah, no, for
It's a
sure.
whole different
That-
thing,
even
but
that's
yeah,
fun,
exactly.
all that.
But sports
yeah, just-
psychology is working. I mean, it's working on some
Fantastic.
people, and I
And
think
I'm glad to hear. So
Yeah, that wasn't allowed in like the 80s and the 90s.
No.
It's a
no,
different.
right. So it was more taboo, but anyway.
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
you weren't allowed to have mental health.
No,
Yeah,
but
that's-
Anderson,
that's
I don't
true
know if
too.
it's a head thing, guys. Like I really
Oh, I think
he's nursing some sort of injury or
no.
an
You know what I think it is.
altered his game. That's what I think.
I think maybe his conditioning wasn't there this season.
Or that.
I get the sense that like he wasn't physically conditioned as well as he was the other seasons. I don't know. I just get that feeling.
I don't know, man.
we're still doing now.
Like,
We're back to Anderson. Sorry, I'm just
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I think it's safe to say he was the most disappointment of the entire season. The two surprises that like I'm sort of happy. I'm happy for the season that Yoel Armia had, and believe it or not, 16 goals for Brendan Gallagher is better than last season.
I was very happy. Fuck, I forgot to mention him. Armia was a big surprise for me.
Yeah.
He stepped up his game. He was the type of guy that we got rid of. Go back to the Rockets, stay in the AHL. You're not coming back
Yeah.
to the NHL. Get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here, right? I don't know what happened with him, but this season he was
Him
the
too.
Armia. He
Another
really
sport-
woke up.
Another sports
but
sports psychologist.
Him too. They sent him down, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna just be here to help the team." He didn't bitch about it.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do, and then
Attitude.
came back, and that's when he performed.
He went down, dude. He went down twice.
And there you go.
Went down twice, and he had the right attitude the whole time. Apparently, he's like,
I like
okay,
him a lot. Yeah.
you know,
Like it is what it is. And
He had a
let's go.
really good. Even the last 15 games, the third and fourth line were just
Oh yeah.
killing it. But
Well,
yeah,
him-
I think we said it last episode. Simon, I think-
him and Jake Evans were like their penalty killing sessions were amazing. It wasn't perfect, but they were amazing. Those two
But I think
together.
they shined more towards the end of the season because I think Marty was focusing more on the third and fourth line to save on injuries for the first line for next season, right? Like
Could be.
you can tell that they came out stronger because the first and second line were kind of,
Mhm.
holding down
They
their
were writing them more than the
exactly.
Well,
I
even,
felt-
and I think we could say a bit the same for Arbor Jacki. Like when yes, 2-1 Boston. All right, let's go.
Third period?
I can't believe I'm saying that. Oh my god, third period.
Well, would you rather say yes 2-1 Boston or yes 2-1 Toronto?
Mm.
No, I'd rather say yes 2-1.
Exactly.
I rather
Yes.
cheer 2-1 for Boston. But
That's
what
it.
about Arbor Jacki? What I'm curious to know what you guys
Okay.
want to grade a guy like Arbor Jacki, who was like the rock star of this team, the sheriff. Then he got humbled, sent back to Laval. Chris and I watched a few games of him in Laval, and he looked like a man amongst boys. You could tell right away. It's like, no, this kid belongs in the NHL. It's probably just like we've been saying a couple of times, all up here,
Yeah.
simplifying his game. Don't take stupid penalties. Fight if you have to, not
It's also
when
lack
you
of
want to.
experience for him, right? He's still young.
It's kind of true. He is still young. I think the injury, the season-ending injury he had last year, might have delayed that level of experience he could have attained. But I really think this year was a learning curve for him, big time, by getting sent down to the minors. Thinking, listen, you want to stay on cloud nine, you need to work on being on cloud nine. You need to work at staying on cloud nine, which is the Montreal Canadiens and the NHL. But when he went to Laval, him too. It's all the attitude. It's like, would I rather bitch and complain, like some players in the past did, like a Rem Pitlick, who was known to do that, or am I gonna fucking own up to it? Fucking take some responsibility, play better, and earn my way back, which is pretty much what our Arbor Jacki did.
He developed his game not his game, but the points where he was a little more needing to improve. He improved it, and very close. So my point for my player who's disappointing, in my opinion, it's close to what you're saying. It's linked because I could compare both. Justin Barron had a similar experience. He got demoted.
Yeah.
And it's not as if his game improved so much, and his attitude wasn't really stellar to start with because of the demotion.
Well, I think
he
his
didn't
attitude,
improve his game.
attitude's okay. I just think
Back and forth, he went to Laval, went to Montreal. His game did not improve, in my opinion.
Okay, no game, yes.
Arbor Jacki. So, to me, Justin
yes,
Barron's
I agree.
a big disappointment because
Okay,
we were thinking he's going to be, he's going to step up there to be that, that speedy big D guy.
I think with Justin Barron, guys, I just think it's his confidence level.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he looks afraid. But then when he plays a game with confidence, it's like, my God, like he could score on a dime if he wants to.
Okay, but why doesn't he improve his game in Laval?
Dude, it depends how the coach used him. I don't know. Like it's maybe it's different in the minors. It's a lot more. It's a lot more physical than the NHL. It's guys that want to make the NHL. So how do they do? Fucking grind your ass out, deliver your hits, finish your checks, fight if you have to. It's
but it's not the first time though, Sam, right? He's been back and forth, and his many opportunities.
I know, dude.
Like he's been having a lot of, but I don't know. I'm just very disappointed. I think we should trade him as fast as we can. He's one of those pieces.
Well, listen. This is the perfect time to really talk about Jeff Gordon, Kent Hughes press conference, because they know what's the next step.
Yep.
They know the next step is to acquire more talent. They've said it, both of them, both in English and in French. And I love the fact that Jeff Gordon and Kent Hughes are there together at the same table, answering questions. I fucking love that.
So you remember there was this huge rumor where Gorton's looking to leave.
Oh, Zook, take it away. What did he say?
His big goal, he's not leaving until the Montreal Canadiens win the cup.
Oh, when he said that, you know what I did?
That's what he wants more than anything, he said. So
And he's a guy from Boston, too. That's
Come
the
on.
best part.
He ain't leaving anywhere, dude. It's just the way it goes.
And we're winning in the next thing. So
Dude, and just the way they were speaking, I was like, oh, it's like the plan is in motion, dude. And it's like you could feel it in your loins.
And they're not deviating from it.
It's like,
They're not.
No, they're not.
You know what, Ant? Sorry, Ant. I'm not calling you out, but I know a few times we were wondering if this rebuild was accelerated or not. I don't think it is. I really think this is the plan here. It's acquire young guys that have potential. It's just not working out with their other teams. We saw that with Doc and we saw that with Newhook. Okay. Doc, unfortunately, with the fucking injuries, that's the only thing that's scaring me. Newhook, despite the injuries, still put up over 15, 16 goals. He could have scored over 20 if he had a healthy season.
Oh, yeah.
I personally think Newhook, let me say this quick. I personally think Newhook needs to be a winger, not a centerman. Take away the centerman responsibility from Newhook. You're going to see how free he's going to play with a lot more speed and a lot more confident. I want him with Kirby Doc on the same line. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's why.
You know what? Go ahead. Sorry, AJ. Got you.
Well, no, I was just gonna say that's what's gonna. Once Doc comes back, then they'll probably put him on the wing.
You know who else I think, real quick? I don't want to deviate too much away from, and I don't want to go back to Josh Anderson either. I really think Josh Anderson next year, to kind of give him one last fresh start, put him on a line with Doc.
That's fine.
As long as they don't acquire somebody who's better than him that can fill that spot.
Oh, if they do, then forget it. He's going down on the third line.
Yeah. And you know what? We're talking about that press conference.
Mhm.
I think we're in the spirit of the mood of the planning and how it's supposed to be affected in the long run. But I want to take the time to maybe want to let you guys talk about that press conference a little bit more in detail. But I do want to talk about something that I'm feeling here in Montreal for the first time, as far as I could remember. I really want to raise my hat to not only the management, but all the fans. The fans, I think this is the first time that they're actually exercising patience. And I think this is the first time that we as fans rightfully can sit back and afford to be patient and actually see the vision panning out of what the guys at that table were discussing. I have faith in those guys. It feels like the impatient media, who usually puts a lot of pressure on Habs management, have backed off. And for the first time more than ever, even the casual fan here in Montreal is truly like, okay, we are building something special and we can feel it. And going back to that press conference, you even see it coming from them, radiating from them, Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes. You feel it's coming. I keep saying the stars are aligning and they're excited about what they have. And they were saying it themselves. We're looking forward to getting there.
Yeah.
And we know we're going to get there, but we're like impatient to get there because we know it's coming. And I just, again, raise my hat to not only the gentlemen who are handling this process, but really Montreal on the whole, your fan base, your media, everybody's coming together as a team to make sure that this long-term plan becomes a success. This is going to be the first time in 30 years since we lost Patrick Roy. We lost one of our key trading pieces.
So
then when Koivu, Kovalev, and everything walked away for free, we could have traded all those pieces. I think for the first time, we actually have asset management. We built up our reserve. We made the right moves. And that is going to pay off at the end of the day. And thank you for your patience, Montreal. Thank you for your patience, fans. Thank you for your patience, media. And gentlemen, Kent Hughes, you beautiful bald bastard, and Jeff Gorton with your little French comments. I love you guys.
But I want to say, and I keep saying this, I'm going to say this again. I'm going to keep saying this until we win that cup. We're doing it right, and we're doing it different than everybody else. Okay, you're a manager. You know, you grew up, and you think that being a manager is like you just grab the good pieces, you put them together, and you make a team. You know that it doesn't work always. Okay, let's go back to 2021, where the Habs, with minimal talent, played as a core team, and they won, and they almost won it, right? because they had chemistry. They played for each other. They had that. How do you say? Like
They
they had
a bond. They had a
they
strong
had
team
that
bond.
strong bond with minimal talent, and they went that far. Gordon and Hughes are doing something similar to that, but add the talent in. So you're building the team from the bottom, young players. There's no veterans on our team besides, okay, yeah, we have the Gallagher and the Anderson and the Savard, but they're coming to an end. Everybody else is all young, inexperienced, talented players. And they're all starting this journey together. And when you start that journey together, you're building a bond, you're building friendships, you're building love. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it that way. And they're going to
Freaking hippie.
and they to a point where chemistry starts building. And when that time comes that the experience kicks in and they're contending, imagine the talent of these players, the love they have for each other, mix it all together. You're going to repeat 2021 just fucking talent. Because look at Toronto Maple Leafs.
They're losing.
It's a team. No, but exactly my point.
They're losing in the playoffs.
Exactly my point. On paper, okay, on fucking paper,
They're
they
fantastic.
have the Stanley Cup team. You would think it's the formula, but they have us every year. Who's going to win the cup? Oh,
No,
they're contending.
It's yeah, you're right, Ed. Just don't spend over 50% of your salary cap on 5 fucking players.
But that's my point. The point is they put all the money
gonna catch up.
in one basket. You're putting a bunch of egos together, talented fucking hotheads together that don't have chemistry. They just want to play for themselves. You put that on the ice, like the New York Rangers in the 90s, when there was no salary cap. You had all the fucking best players on the ice, highest paid players on the ice, and they didn't fucking win, right?
Well, they won 94.
94, but after that,
but
they were getting better and better.
Yeah.
They had stronger teams after 94, and they didn't win. Why? Because you have a lot of fucking hothead egos playing together. So that being said, the reason why I feel like this dynasty is going to be built and why we're doing this right is that Kent and Gordon are building this team like properly. They're building a family, and I think this is the right way.
So
yeah.
Is that other top 6 forward? The big question is wondering whether that other top 6 forward, that talent they're looking for, is coming via draft or trade.
Trade.
This is to me the ultimate question mark. I don't know where the fuck they're gonna go with it this year, because at the number 5, they could land a forward, a good forward, or they're gonna be stuck with the defenseman that I'm wondering, do they trade that pick to go get that forward? Do they trade that, or do they trade a defenseman for a forward and pick one more good defenseman within the top 5?
Yeah, but
I
why?
really don't know. I don't know. These are questions. I'm not
No,
saying
no,
they're
I
gonna
know,
do
but
that.
No more defense.
What I'm saying is-
Yeah, go Adrian.
That's what I'm saying is that we have too many defensemen now. Like
Listen,
if he's
yeah.
picking another defenseman, that means 2 of them are going or something for a forward. That's the trade.
I agree with that. I really, really do. And
It makes no sense.
you know what? I was thinking of this. I hope they pick a forward that's good enough. Well, that's obviously good enough to be the top 6, but good enough to remove a little bit more responsibility off a guy like Cole Caufield, where Cole Caufield won't have to worry about being a bit of a two-way player like he was this season. And it partially could be because, like Chris said, his shoulder surgery or the shoulder injury recovery didn't allow him to be the goal scorer that he is supposed to be. But if we get a player that just allows Cole Caufield to score when you're on the top line, score when you're on the power play, let the second line of like Doc and whoever they pick this player worry about playing a little bit more of a two-way game, like that to me is a win. If the Canadiens select the forward where Cole Caufield drops down in the charts in terms of the depth chart, like right now Cole Caufield's what, the number 3 or the number 2? It's Nick Suzuki number 1. Then you're gonna argue that either it's between Slav and Caufield, a number 2-3. Unfortunately, Doc got hurt, so we don't know where he is. He's definitely at number 4. Then you're thinking, what? Maybe New Hook number 5, Josh Anderson not this year. If they pick a forward that just makes Cole drop to 3-4, whereas like if your top 4 players are your Suzuki, Slavkovsky, Kirby Doc, and the player we draft this year, Cole drops. Dude, you know how good that is? That's an excellent fucking thing to have. Where a guy like Cole Caufield is going to drop in the depth chart, and all he's going to do is worry about scoring goals, especially on the power play.
Do you see?
But the thing is, sorry, Ant. If you're drafting this guy, he's got to he's got to be NHL ready.
I think he's going to be. If I'm thinking of guys like Caden Lidstrom, Berkeley Canton, I think Ivan Demidov is going to go 2nd overall after Macklin Celebrini. So I think that player is going to have just one more year of junior to do. If it's Berkeley Canton or Caden Lidstrom, one more year in junior. If it's Cole Eiserman,
what happens if we get Celebrini? What happens if we win the lottery this year?
if we get Celebrini, he's making the NHL right away.
So, but imagine you win. I think the rebuild that we're talking about, or whatever we want to say, this is going to escalate even faster with Celebrini.
Maybe. I mean, with a first overall pick, like
because this is the last time Montreal's being bottom 5. That's how I hope.
I think so too. But right now, it's like we're there thinking like, oh, we have a lot of these defensemen. We got to trade them for a top player. It's like, okay, if you want to trade these defensemen to get that top player, you have to throw in that 5th overall pick, projected 5th overall pick. You have to. You won't be able to. I'm sorry. You won't be able to get a top 6 forward by trading Jordan Harris or by trading Justin Barron or by trading whoever else on the depth chart you want to throw in there. You have to throw in that 5th overall pick or whichever pick the Canadiens are getting. You have to throw that in.
Is Cole untouchable?
Yes.
No,
I think for now, yeah, I would say yes for now. Maybe.
Okay.
I would think so.
See, what I'm trying to get at is, I mean, to us, yes, he's untouchable, but do you see him a movable piece to make this team better?
Listen, you know what? At the end of the day, I think anybody could be movable if the return is better. I see that. You got to
get someone a lot better.
Because Suzuki and Slavkovsky to me is untouchable.
It's a great question.
Is that piece that I think that could be
right now. Like, listen, as Montreal Canadiens fans, we're so emotionally involved with these players. If Cole Caufield goes via trade, even if we get McDavid for him, like I can guarantee you 3/4 of the city is going to be crushed to death, and they're going to fucking bawl their eyes out. And I don't blame them. I'll probably be one of them. At one point during the season, we were saying how a guy like Caden Gooley is untouchable. And I still believe that to this day. I love the kid. But with his injury issues,
there you go.
And look at the way Jamie Drysdale in the same draft as Caden Gooley was the 2nd best defenseman there. Jamie Drysdale, I remember the World Junior Tournament he played, he was the fucking best defenseman out there. Him and oh my god, the other defenseman that was with Colorado and they just got traded to Buffalo. My god, I'm having a memory blank.
Middlestat.
No, not Middlestat. Middlestat they traded for. No, the defenseman. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just drawing a memory blank here.
I can't. I'm blanking.
Listen. The Anaheim Ducks, who needed a defenseman, he was projected to be
Power.
Owen Power is with Buffalo. Oh my god.
Okay, keep going. I'll
search it up, please. Thank you.
Oh, shit.
Listen, the Anaheim Ducks traded Jamie Drysdale for Cutter Gauthier. Like, you don't think Anaheim is fucking Zook? Use your word. You don't think they're jizzing right now?
Yeah.
That they're adding a Cutter Gauthier, Bowen Byram. Thank you. Yes. You know, my God, even the Colorado traded a Bowen Byram.
Yeah.
You know, I'm saying, and I love Caden Gooley to death. I think this kid, could be our newer version of a Shea Weber in terms of the seriousness and the aggressiveness. But if he keeps getting injured, he's the one I'm scared of the most. And I considered him an untouchable after that concussion. Again, well, mind you, I don't know. I think it's his first concussion. I'm trying to remember. I know he had the leg injury issues. I'm just saying, if the Anaheim Ducks can trade a projected top defenseman for another top centerman, Cutter Gauthier, okay, they have Mason McTavish. They have that, or is he? I forgot if he's a centerman or winger. Anyways, the Anaheim Ducks. They have Trevor Zegras, obviously. Greg McTavish. They have
Greg McTavish.
McTavish.
Is it Mason
No.
McTavish?
Mason McTavish. Yeah, sorry. Thank you. My God,
Very good player.
who they drafted last season? My God, I'm really drawing memory blanks. But this is what happens. Speaking of concussions, this is what happens when you get too many concussions playing hockey, boys. You forget names of players. You don't think Anaheim right now they can't wait what their top six is going to be. So my point is, if Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon want talent, they're going to have to trade talent, or that pick is potential talent in this coming draft.
Question: Can they, if they want to trade the pick, does it have to be done before they actually make the pick, or if they have the pick after?
You mean should they?
Let's say they pick someone. Let's say they pick whoever they use their pick, but they're able to trade them after if they want.
They could trade if they draft a player, they're basically gonna trade his rights.
I think, Adri, I think what's going to end up happening, and what's so interesting right now, I don't want to commit to saying exactly that, because I think a lot of teams are drafting more frequently based off of the top available player. But I think what's going to end up happening, and what could be very interesting for Montreal, is if there's a grouping of defensemen and Montreal's really strong on the defensive side, and they want to move down maybe one or two spots, they might be able to get something really, really interesting just with that alone. Moving, like, as much as you guys, as much as everybody's like, oh, the first, the second pick. If you're giving somebody a top 5 pick and you're moving down 2 to 3 spots, the God's honest truth is we might end up with a later first round pick. We might end up with an early second round pick. We might end up with a good player, just for making that move. So I think, to your point, and to come back to your question, we're only going to see movement before the pick is made for a team that might be desperate to pick a certain player that's still on the board that might not be there 2 to 3 picks later.
Yeah,
and Montreal has no interest in.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we still have Winnipeg's pick in the late first round.
Yeah.
So and the player I was looking for was Leo. The name of the player, Leo Carlson. They have Leo Carlson.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So fucking Toronto tied it up 2-2. So
who scored?
Looks like Morgan Riley.
I don't know, and I don't care. but you know what, Chris, you actually said earlier in the episode that they need to add physicality, and that was
I'm with Lindstrom. I want Lindstrom. So if he's there on the table, I think that's another, like, you're adding another big body, not as big as Slavkovsky, but we're addressing that physicality right then and there. And I think he's more aggressive than Slavkovsky, which makes it that much more interesting.
I think he's another Brady Tkachuk type player.
Yeah, there you go. I think he's just what the Canadiens need. And honestly, if I were the Canadiens, I'm worried about another team picking him, I would be willing to sacrifice something to move up. I would trade, let's say, that 5th overall. Let's say he's still on the board at 4. You're scared that he gets picked up by the team who's at 4. I would, in fact, give up one of our better defensemen, prospects. Like, hell, let's go. Let's, for the sake of jokes and whatever, we're talking about Harrison Barron. But even if it were to take a Mike Matheson plus the 5th pick to move up, Boston just scored. Amen.
Yes.
But we have to end up the episode on why we are rooting for Boston and not Toronto.
Don't worry about it. I got it all planned. Don't worry about it.
But going back to that, I think the Canadiens, like, my number one pick, the only other guy that I would consider is Iginla. I think his son is a little bit more talented and maybe a little bit less physical than him. But I think Lindstrom is the number one guy that the Montreal Canadiens have to go through. I think that's going to be your chef's kiss.
I totally
Perfect
agree.
compliment to the Montreal Canadiens.
Did you
top
see,
6 to
did
go
you
to
see
the.
they asked him, I forgot who asked him, but somebody asked him
There you go. You got it.
what would it mean to you if you got drafted by the Canadiens? And he said it would be an honor. He goes, I feel like it's a type of market where I could thrive under that pressure. I want to play in a hockey environment as well. And yeah, so I really hope he brings that. And I read that, and the person that he reminds me of is Uri Slafkovsky.
Yeah.
I think he has the same attitude. Anthony, this goes up your alley. I think it sounds like they have the same type of character or same type of attitude. And if you add that to this list, plus all the things that Chris just mentioned about this kid, able to play physical, still able to score. Unfortunately, he didn't have a great playoffs in the WHL, but that's okay. Like he also came back from injury too. That's the only concern. He had a bit of an injury that he was out for a good half of the season. I really hope they pick this kid because I don't think Demidov is going to be available. The Anaheim Ducks general manager said we're looking for either a top 6 forward or a top right-handed shooter. And right now, to me, on the draft, that Zane Parekh kid, he's the best right-handed defenseman, to the best of my knowledge, available in the draft. Like, so I really, I think we could land this fucking kid, guys. I really do. And if we do, we're gonna kind of forget the whole fact that Marc Bergevin did not draft Brady Tkachuk. I really think that this is like a Marvel Comics movie. Like, I really think if they pick Caden Lindstrom, it erases the timeline of fucking Marc Bergevin's fuck up in the draft of not picking Brady Tkachuk.
And if they pick him, you said he's got another year?
Yeah, because he's 18 turning 19. And I remember checking it.
He's a forward. He's a center.
He's a left winger, dude. Can you imagine? Can you imagine
Okay.
him and Kirby Doc on the same line?
It's going to be the monster line. They're
It's
monsters.
a fucking monster line, big time.
Okay, I'm just trying to think who's left after 2 years or who's about to go.
What do you mean? Who's about to go?
Maybe that's what they're thinking also.
We're getting closer to Josh Anderson. In another 2 years, you're getting, I think, contract-wise, Josh Anderson is going to come off the books. Brendan Gallagher is going to come off the books. Dvorak is going to come off the books.
Dvorak, Savard, Armia, they finish at the end of next season. And then I think there's still another season or two. Actually, I could check it right here on capfriendly.com, which is
Gallagher is not finished next season. It's the year after next.
Yeah, Gallagher and Anderson finish at the end of 2027. So
okay, so then there's 2 more years, 3 years.
Yeah, so there's 3 years, including the next season. Yeah. So
Jesus Christ.
So maybe guys.
Someone's getting bought out next year.
No, can't you
Boston
said
just scored, mother.
Did they? Are you ahead of me, you bastard, again?
No, I just updated the score.
He's probably behind.
I refreshed the score, so I'm behind.
Oh, okay. Well, we just said
you're not even listening to us. That's what it's telling me.
To us. No, can't use said no, they're not buying out any contracts. So, but
that's what they say.
That's what they.
I was just gonna say that.
You want loyalty? Get a dog. You know what, guys? Before we slowly wrap this up, I think the biggest W and the biggest win of this entire season is the fact that they extended Marty St. Louis.
Yep.
Yeah,
100%. And all the players are happy about it. They all said how, he fits the core of this team. He's the heart of the team.
But he proved it. Like I said, the first year was the first year. It's like, okay, whatever. Now he's on his second year, right?
Yep.
And then the next year was his last year, basically.
Yeah, so they extended him for another 2 years. Yeah.
He proved like everyone said, okay, you can't expect him the first year. He's first time coaching, first time everything for him, even for the players and all that.
Yep.
And you saw what he did in the second season, so they like, okay, it's working, so you're gonna stay. And said, players are happy, media's happy, fans are happy.
What did Gorton say? He's the right man for what we're trying to build.
He also said
Verbatim.
Yeah, he also said that we don't even know who Marty St. Louis is yet. He keeps surprising us every fucking time
In an incredible way.
Yeah,
like-
every press conference he adds something that you didn't even know he could fucking think
Dude,
of.
there's
Like
nobody like him, dude.
the way he thinks the game, the way he approaches the game, the way he approaches his players, the way he presents himself to the players, to the media.
Look,
It's
I honestly think he's a gem, Sam. Like I really like. There's not many out there like them, even in the coaches pool, if you will, of all coaches available or caliber, NHL caliber. I think he's just a different species. You know what I'm saying? Especially, especially for what like the modern way of hockey, where it's going, and how how he speaks philosophies and like mental health and the way he approaches things and all of that stuff. It's exactly what the future lies for the hockey. So like I said, he's literally the piece of the puzzle that's leading the puzzle for this whole rebuild and for the next 5 to 10, 15 years, I would say.
There you go. Thank you for saying that, Zook, because I was just about to say Marty St. Louis is the first coach that I can see being in Montreal for a decade to 2 decades, like a Lindy Ruff or
Lindy Ruff going back to Buffalo,
and that's why I said it. But
well, look at John Cooper.
Barry Trotz, who was in Nashville for a while. I think Marty St. Louis is going to be one of those coaches. He's not going to lose his room. I think he's going to constantly adapt to the times. And the two things that I was just about to say about Marty himself is I'm the best at getting better. And then the second thing that I also took away from that press conference is as much as he wasn't sitting at that table, I think Marty St. Louis, we said it, you just said it, aligned with the goals, but I think Marty actually has his input. I think Marty actually gets to put his stamp on the moves that get made.
Not only that.
Yep.
Sorry to cut you off, Chris. Continue that statement.
No, I'm done. I'm done. All yours.
But not only everything you just said, sorry, I cut you off because of the lag, but all that you guys just mentioned, he also fits the plan of this team. Because you throw in a Patrick Roy in this mix, if we would have went with him, it wouldn't have fit this journey that this Hughes and Gorton was trying to build. I think having a Marty fits in the story of what these guys want to build. And like I said before, you're building a team from the beginning, young rookies, building chemistry from bottom up.
It includes Marty. Yeah,
it includes Marty. Marty had no experience as a coach. He's a rookie coach, but he was also a rookie player back in the day that had a lot to fight for to move up in this league and prove
the underdog. So now
he was the underdog, like this team. All these young players that we have on our roster need to prove something, and Marty fits that lifestyle. That how do you say that story?
It's pretty much that. So, I think people tend to forget that Kent Hughes and Marty spent many years together because of their sons in the college hockey world within the Boston area, I believe, or at least the Massachusetts area. So Kent Hughes knows Marty very well. So as much as that hiring might have come out of left field, like he knows him well. But Kent Hughes said it. He goes, one of the big reasons why we hired Marty is because his whole career, again, he was the underdog, underside, not the biggest, not the fastest. He goes, but the reason why he had such a successful career is because he was the best one at getting better. He was better than everybody else at getting better. And so I think Kent Hughes saw that attitude in him, not just as a player, but now he knows he could put that as a coach. And that's That's why
And
they hired him, and it's
add to this,
working. It's
Sammy,
working. Yes.
I think that's why they drafted Slavkovsky.
Well, I think that
Remember when they drafted him, he
reasons.
wasn't the most skilled or gifted, but he was one of the picks that wanted to learn more. Pair that with a coach that makes you better. There you go. You have a beast forward. You have a guy with the highest fucking ceiling, and sky's the limit for Slav. And now you're starting to see the results of Marty St. Louis.
Yeah,
his his work ethic paired with.
I just think the in terms of just the way Slavkovsky progressed as a 15, 16, 17-year-old in a league of men, living on his own with the pressure of an entire nation on his shoulders. Okay, you could play with that in a market like the Canadiens, where and your projection is long-term success and not just a few good 5 years or 6 years. They project him to be better than that, or at least for him to. He's projected to go long term, not short term. That's why they got him. But I truly believe it. A part of it has to do with a coach like Marty. He will thrive under a coach like Marty. I believe that.
Yeah,
I truly believe that. Let me ask you guys this: for years now, we've been. It's the same narrative and. Maybe most of the time true, how players don't want to come here because of media, fan base pressure, media pressure. Hold on, Anthony. Don't blow your load just yet, buddy. Just like no, so you know where I'm getting at, but like the weather, taxes, all that bullshit. For me personally, I think that's changed. I think a lot of players love to play in a market like Montreal. I just think circumstances didn't present themselves. I truly think a lot of players didn't want to play for some of the coaches we had in the past. Yeah. I think Marty now is going to be respect.
And I think Patrick Roy would have ruined that.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. But I want to know if you guys agree with me. Do you really think Marty now is going to be that reason that players want to come here? Because Jeff Gordon said it in the presser as well. He's like, he's going to be one. He's going to be players will want to come to Montreal a lot because of Marty. I'm quoting Jeff Gordon here.
Yes, I think that the reason for that, we keep seeing his approach, but he's not going to be like. I look at John Tortorella. I feel I love John Tortorella. I genuinely do.
Me too.
I love a lot of like Lindy Ruff going back to Buffalo is to get them disciplined and whatever. But I find that there are even Ken Hitchcock back in the day. There were certain coaches that would bounce around the league when a younger team needed to get their shit together, needed to get disciplined, needed that like hard figure to get them settled into the league and settled in as men. And Marty's not that. We've always said it. Rob Brindamore is the English version of Marty. Yeah. Very similar to that. But Marty is going to be somebody. At the end of the day, he's going home to do his own homework off the post.
Oh my God.
He's going home to do his own homework. He's going home to prep a new game plan. And that approach, I'm going to say it like this. Marty's always going to be approaching his players with a discussion. What do you think about this? I think this might work. Maybe let's adjust this. And it's not, what the fuck are you doing? Screw your head on straight. Get everything in line. And you do not lose a room by taking the approach that Marty has. And on the long run, you're always working at your game. You're always getting better, which is his strength. And at the same time as doing that, you never lose the guys that are with you. You're in the battle with the guys. You're not against them. You're not pissing them off. And that's why I see him that 10, 15 years. He's dynamic in every sense of coaching. And he's not that one mold coach. He's going to be dynamic and he's going to adapt and he's going to learn and he's going to better. And, the game gets tougher. He's ready to get tougher. The game gets quicker. He's ready to get quicker. The game slows down. He will figure it out. I don't have faith in other coaches to do that. And for that reason, when you have a pleasant discussion, a true coach who's going to get the best out of his players, that's when you have other players from outside of Montreal and outside of the organization who start to say, fuck, I want to go work on my game with Marty St. Louis. It's always, he's going to challenge me and he's going to push me to be better. He's going to do so in an
Not
environment
only
that's amazing. And when we win, there's no fucking better place in the world to win hockey games than your
But see,
Montreal.
but that's not it. That's exactly it. I don't think. Yes, right now, currently, people want to come here for Marty, but I think eventually that narrative is going to change a bit. They're going to want to come play for this team, for this management. The way,
Mhm.
you know, what's the word I'm saying? Boston. How did they do it? They built the team. The fuck. What's the word I'm looking for?
Mentality.
The organization,
Culture.
The culture. That's it. They're going to want to play here because of the winning culture.
Yep.
And I think this is it. This is it.
like the Red Wings in the mid '90s.
Oh
And
my god, yeah.
Chicago, yeah.
And Scotty, with Scotty Bowman too,
I'm
and
going to say
Steve
this
Eisman.
now.
Yep.
I'm going to say this now, and I've been saying this for years, but I think this is it. If Leafs do not win this series, this team is
They're imploding.
And Marner is a good chance that Marner is a guy who
He's coming to Montreal.
but no, I'm not saying
I
he's coming to
wouldn't
Montreal,
mind.
but it's something that
Not
you
at
know
that
you're
salary.
looking.
He
Not at
doesn't
that
look
Did you
like a
say
hat.
Marner? Did you say Mitch Marner?
Yeah.
I don't
No,
touch
no.
that piece of
He doesn't
shit
look.
with a 10-foot pole.
He doesn't look like a Hab in my opinion.
I actually, he's the only Maple Leafs I hold on a second. Wait, hold on. Before we even get to Marner, I really want to add one thing to both Anthony's point and Chris's point. Chris, the best example you said about Marty was the fact how they let Kirby Doc into the coaching sessions and the training sessions and the video sessions. And Marty asked him, what do you think? Marty wanted Kirby Doc's input. Kirby Doc's season was done. He wasn't skating, wasn't playing, nothing. He still let him be part of the video conferences, the video sessions, coaching sessions off the ice, and a couple of times asked for his input. So just that alone, Chris, like I'm happy you mentioned that earlier. Just that alone could be
that.
no, but
I
you
didn't fucking
mentioned
say that.
no, you didn't give the example, but you mentioned how Marty looks like he asks the players' input.
Oh, discussion. The discussion. Okay.
Yeah, so that's it. That's all. But look, man, guys, we pretty much touched base on everything we've had to talk about in terms of the year review. I'm fucking envious of these teams in the playoffs. You look at Winnipeg, their arena. You look at
Patience.
Vancouver. Man, can you imagine the Bell Center?
Patience.
Well, I'm watching some hockey and it's pissing me off. Like
It really is.
as much as
Like,
I'm a big Florida fan, because I'm gonna be
Because you're a resident.
you're gonna be a Florida resident.
Because
Exactly.
you're a
Partial
resident.
Yeah.
I can't. You know how much I cringe to see having a team like that on the ice. It's playoff hockey and the fans are just.
They don't care, dude. It's hot outside. Like
It's no, but like it fucking boggles my mind. And then
I
you
know.
have them and who's fucking bringing a team to Utah who's not gonna fucking give a shit about hockey.
that's the Bettman effect.
You know,
It's-
but then you
it's-
see
You can't say
Winnipeg.
that, Ans. You
I
can't say that though.
No,
they already
it-
sold 22,000 tickets. Like it's not the same
Yeah,
game
but
as.
it's gonna work.
but
It's gonna work out in Utah, but they fucked up. First, I don't even want to get into that. But the Arizona Coyotes location was in the wrong place.
Yeah.
It should have been Scottsdale, not in Glendale, or is it vice
I'm
versa?
just saying it's
Yeah, but I
playoff
hear you.
hockey.
Anthony. Yes,
You
I
come
hear
to
you.
the Bell Center, it's fucking loud. They're booing, they're screaming. Yesterday, Florida, I'm sorry, I was watching that game and it was intense. You know, Bobrovsky's save, the overtime, everything. And the fans were just like, it was like a game 51 in the NHL season. That's what it felt like. I'm sorry, but if it was a Bell Center, look at Winnipeg. It's so beautiful to see them fucking
Yeah.
screaming, the fucking
Little
white
green
out, Colorado. It's crazy. Like, you want that. It's
Yeah.
playoff hockey.
We're gonna get that when they come to the Bell Center. I guarantee you, man.
and more.
and more.
And more.
Why are we rooting for Boston instead of Toronto, boys?
I hate both teams,
It's
but I
obvious.
learned to respect Boston.
Thank you. That's my reasoning. I hate them both. I respect the Bruins. The fact that they're contenders every year without having to draft high all the fucking time. Winning culture, you called it, with guys like Patrice Bergeron, Zdeno Chara, even though he's a piece of shit, they're a team that holds each other accountable and they play well, and that's how they win together. So that's why I respect the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
Fuck the Leafs. Listen, I'm going to say this though. Right now, Bruins are up 2-1 in the series with a victory tonight. If the Bruins eliminate the Leafs, after that, the Bruins could go fuck themselves too.
Oh,
Let,
100%.
let's get this straight here.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here. After that, they're gone. I'm done. I want them done.
Want them out.
The Untouchables reference.
You wanna buy a-
I love it.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go
But
buy a
you got-
Florida
we're
Panthers jersey or a T-shirt.
You
We're
should.
throwing flowers to Boston, and I have to say, okay, Boston, it's a city that knows. We talked about culture. They know how to win,
Oh,
and
my
they
God.
hold themselves to a higher standard.
Great.
And I feel as though Montreal understands that in terms of hockey. We don't have as many sports teams, but Boston, as a sports city, they do
One of the
truly hold themselves to a higher standard.
Pack Nation,
Meanwhile,
baby.
nobody's addressing this. Meanwhile, you have Toronto, a city of delusional fans. You go back to a team that abuses you year after year, that hasn't done anything. Their culture is losing and excuse making. And
Yeah.
for myself, as a Montreal Canadiens fan, English speaking, who cannot open up his television, watch TSN, Sportsnet, or simply any hockey game on a Saturday night without being spoon fed Toronto Maple Leafs bullshit until the end of time or until they change their whole media broadcasting fandom that they have, their little niche of fans, that organization, that fan base who's completely delusional, can all collectively go fuck themselves.
Perfect.
Thank you very
ending.
much.
Perfect.
I
ending.
mean, is LDS or TVA talking about Toronto or Ottawa?
Never.
You know what I mean?
No, we do, but on a set,
You
like, on a
ended the
Saturday
episode
night,
perfectly.
He ended it perfectly. He did.
on,
We said it all.
on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to the Curfew Boys. What a great episode. A lot of good
A lot.
content on this episode.
Yep.
Chet Manangi, it was nice to see your beautiful face.
Really was.
Joey, we miss you if you reach to the end of this episode. I'm not going to say what I want to say. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you hear, please listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and any other fucking podcast platform that you love listening to. If you like to see more content, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and X. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, subscribe on YouTube channel.
It's
And
free.
please, it's free, and leave us an honest rating. It's only going to make us better. Until next time,
Yeah. Don't forget.
Adrian, I want to hear what you have to say.
We will be back for more Stanley Cup round predictions.
Yes.
We will talk about other teams as the Stanley Cup playoffs go further and further.
And the lottery draft next week, so we're probably gonna have an episode on
Weeks
that.
from now. We're definitely gonna have an episode talking about the lottery draft. I can't wait for that. Awesome.
Until next time.
Yeah, we still got this summer.
Take it away, Adri.
Good night.
Bye now. Bye now.
Bye now.
Bye now.
Peace love.